Hello and welcome to another Seymour Experience, the Sunday Night Delight. I'm your host, Nick Frost.
Hello, Nick. Oh, no, I'm Paul Seymour. How's it going, man? I was caught off guard by that.
Yeah, I'm pretty good, mate. How are you doing?
Yeah, not great, but it is what it is. Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad, thanks.
I'd imagine you've been better given what's just occurred.
Yes. Well, obviously we'll discuss this shortly, but drowning me sorrows tonight, mate. Unfortunately.
Well, let's get straight into it.
Indeed.
So, the big one, Liverpool 1, Manchester City 4. Immediate thoughts?
Well, to be honest with you, I predicted 5 goals. All to Man City, funnily enough. But no, I kind of expected us to lose. I just didn't know it was going to be that much. I mentioned to you just before we went live, after Gundogan got the penalty, which was a fair penalty, I suppose, for being messed up. I just right, that's it. I'm off, turned it off. And because I just know how we were playing. I thought it was all downhill from there. I found out they didn't score, and I was like, oh, okay, after the fact. And it's only when we mentioned to you, I said, oh, how, asked if I was watching. I said, nah, I give up. How are we doing? Are we still like 1-0 down or whatever? And you were like, no, we're 3-1. And it was 4-1. I was like, oh, Jesus. So I'm glad I didn't watch that cluster. You tell me it was a couple of mistakes, you said, from Alisson?
Yeah, so, the match itself, the first half was an absolute damp squib. And I was getting ready to give it my traditional as the turd of the week game.
Turn of the week.
But actually, the second half, I mean, if you take any bias out, it's really entertaining in the second half. Well, obviously, there was 5 goals in it.
Yeah.
Gundogan's penalty, though, in the first half, he ballooned it high, wide, utterly hopeless. It's like he was wearing flippers on his feet.
Well, he might as well have done today. I think they still would have won.
Well, yeah. He made up for it, though, in the second half, obviously. He got a brace. But after his first, so Man City went 1-0 up. Yeah. Salah, he got a pen. That again, it was a legitimate pen. Tucked it away himself. Nice finish. The 1-1 could have went either way. And then, Alisson just seemed to have a sudden brain injury for 10 minutes. Twice, he just hoofed the ball straight to a Man City player, leading directly to 2 Man City goals. It was bizarre, really. One of the most reliable keepers in the league. But I mentioned to you as well, apart from that, Foden, for about 15 to 20 minutes, by the absolute country mile, was the best player on the pitch.
Yeah.
It reminded me of myself in my younger days, to be fair.
Had the same haircut as well.
Not anymore, clearly. But he capped it off with an absolute will. He took it down in the box and slammed it into the top corner. Very, very good for English football. Certainly.
Yeah. Do you think he'll get Young Player of the Year for the Premier League?
I mean, he's a very, very strong candidate. Who else is there?
I can't think of anyone this very moment. I mean, there's no one young enough, really. I don't know if Kane's trying to still qualify for that. But yeah, at the moment, you can't see anyone past him, can you, really? I really can't, anyway.
No, but, I'm afraid the final verdict I would give this match is the end, unfortunately, of Liverpool's title defence.
Yeah. To be honest with you, mate, anyone who loses at home to Burnley deserve nothing, to be honest. Especially against Brighton as well, just shocking. The games against Newcastle, I could see it all dwindling. I mean, I had a ray of hope against West Ham. Like I say, it was a ray, but that was about it. It just seemed downhill, and Man United coming up doing well again as well. It just seems to be the same old nightmare that I was used to for decades. So, oh well, we had a great season last season. I think one thing I will say is the fact that Anfield, not everybody's suffering about the fans, of course. Everyone needs that fan. But as a Liverpool fan, I can strongly say that Liverpool's Anfield has just been, when that's full and bouncing, teams struggle to even get to grips. And I think that's what we've missed. The start of the whole season, in fact, and obviously the end of last season when we even won the title, we were always missing that 12th man, as they call it. And I think with Man City having no fans or little to no fans or plastic fans, the majority of them, they're used to this. So that's why they're not bombing forward, because they can. They're cheering to no one. So it's perfect for them. A bit of bitterness coming out there. But yeah, fair play. They're going to run away with it, I think.
Yeah, I think you make a fair point, to be fair. I mean, how many games unbeaten were Liverpool at home? 60-something?
68 it was, yeah.
Now it's 3 straight losses. But Man City, traditionally, have struggled at Anfield with the fans, even if Liverpool have been in poor form apart from that.
Yeah.
But obviously today they've turned up and steamrolled you. So,
yeah, they have. They've done it in style. Just got to concede, unfortunately, this year. I'd rather them win it than the red side out of the two. But yeah, it is what it is. It's done now, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at that result and today's early results.
Let's have a little look, yes.
Yeah. So, well, there are the results. Obviously, we've got Man U in a 3-3 draw with Everton. I saw a lot of Man U fans starting to give out their usual jip when they were, I think, 2-0 up, and they've gone on to draw 3-3, so they've quickly gone quiet again.
Back in the caves.
Fulham and West Ham, unfortunately, are getting my of the week for a turgid game. Burnley, Brighton, 1-1. Pretty predictable result, given the circumstances. Newcastle 3, Southampton 2, 5-goal thriller. Not normally something you'd associate with Newcastle, and they clung on with 10 men for a large period of that game.
Yeah, good score.
And then this was a bit of a turn up for the books at the start of the weekend. Villa 1, Arsenal 0. What do you think of that?
That's massive, that is, really, for Villa, because Villa have been not really winning a lot themselves. They've been getting by. They had about 3 or 4 games in hand at one point. If they'd have won them all, I think they'd have took them to the top or nearabouts. And obviously Arsenal having a little late surge, try and get some games in. They've got a couple of wins. And I thought it was going to be an Arsenal win. I really did. And then obviously it went the opposite way. I suppose that's football for you, isn't it? It doesn't matter what kind of form you go in sometimes. You can be trounced. So 1-0, and I think it was Ollie Watkins, wasn't it? Early day, 2 minutes in. They held on. Quickest
goal of the weekend, I believe.
Yeah. A fair play.
And we've got today's games. Tottenham dispatched of West Brom with ease, really. It wasn't even a contest from start to finish, 2-0. But Kane was back, which was a bit, I mean, fair enough if the injury wasn't as bad, but you wouldn't have thought you'd risk him this early.
Yeah. No, you wouldn't, would you, really? I mean, you'd give him a couple of moments, especially with Tottenham's form at the moment, but it's obviously turned around. They've been on a bit of a bad streak at the time, so they've turned it around and got 2-0, so maybe it was the right decision. Who knows? Big Sam knows.
Then we've got Wolves, Leicester, who played out a 0-0 game. Actually, although it was 0-0, it was quite entertaining. It was pretty end-to-end in the second half. And then finally, Man City 4, Liverpool 1, which we've already discussed in detail.
Yes.
And obviously Sheffield United and Chelsea are currently playing.
Yes, I was just actually seeing, because something just popped up on my phone, but for some reason it's gone off. Oh no, it's 0-0 still. I thought something happened, but nothing happened. Still 0-0.
Still 0-0. We'll keep you posted.
Indeed, we will. Let's have a look at the next one. The league table.
For anyone but Man City, it makes pretty grim reading, I would say.
It does, doesn't it? I mean, look at that game in hand still as well. Yeah, I mean, to be fair with them, they've went, I think it's a 10-game winning streak now in the league, and I think it's 15 in all competitions. I think it's a record for themselves in all competitions. Yeah, you can't knock them. They had a bit of a drab start. We were all having a joke and a laugh at the start of it all and whatnot, but they've obviously come on. They've decided to push forward, and they've been on a heck of a streak, and that just shows you the streak. They're now top of the table, 5 points ahead of Manchester United with a game in hand as well.
They're doing that without De Bruyne and Aguero.
Yes. I mean, yeah, with Man City, like, it's not low. They've got quality players on the bench. When you think of all the other teams, there's only maybe 2 or 3 teams that have got world-class players ready to come off the bench and take over in a position like that. But Aguero and De Bruyne have been their 2 main players over the last 6-7 seasons, well, especially Aguero. For them not to be there and still have that. I mean, Gundogan obviously stepped up massively. Phil Foden's in the form of his life. He's only 20 years old, and that's scary as heck. So, yeah, they're really, and Jesus as well. Give a shout to Jesus. He's done all right for himself. He's actually turned it around. So, yeah,
so scary for the rest of the league.
Yeah.
Who do you think will fill the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th slots? I mean, it's pretty obvious Man City are winning the league this year at this point.
Yeah, Man City have got the title bet. I mean, we're talking, 16 games ahead, but they're that good at the moment. No one could catch up with them, I don't think. I think Man United will get a top 4 spot. I can't. They're getting, at the moment, they're just getting around and they're winning, but then they're having the dodgy result. I unfortunately think, I think Leicester will be up there because they can turn on when they need to. I've got a really bad feeling that Everton are going to have a go,
Yeah.
They've got 2 games in hand on everyone else. They're 3 points behind the top 4. If they have a good run of games, which they know they can do, I think Everton can get into that top 4, and that just kills me as a Liverpool fan. But I think we will drop out.
Yeah. Well, if they win those 2 games in hand, they're legitimately third, aren't they?
They are indeed. Yeah, they'll go above. So, yeah. What about yourself?
I see what you're saying with Everton. I can't see them doing it, though. They're too inconsistent. I mean, you talk about inconsistent. Look at the results: draw, win, loss, draw, win. They're just very inconsistent. I think Leicester and Man U will get it.
Yeah.
And I think the last one is probably, I know they're down at the 7th and 8th. The last spot, I think, is between Liverpool, Tottenham, and Chelsea.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Chelsea have a resurgence with the new manager.
Yeah, they've already won the last 2, clearly.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, did you think it was fair to sack Frank?
I think Chelsea for Frank Lampard is massive. That's like the pinnacle he would have wanted to reach. To be flown into that position in the first place was tough on him. And I think, he's an old school player. Everyone was like, "Oh, let's rally around and do well for Frank." So it was tough for him. But yeah, he wasn't ready for that. And I think 6 losses. You know what Roman's like. He doesn't mess around. He wants results. And he weren't going to get anywhere, unfortunately, with Frank Lampard. Bringing Thomas in, I mean, I don't know how many managers in a row that is now. What is it, like 20 managers in something like 10, 20 years or something? It is mad. But like I say, Roman wants results, and he'll get them by hook or by crook.
He will indeed. Rounding out the top 10, we've got Arsenal, who they were on a bit of a resurgence. Everyone was saying Arteta had turned it around, but now that's 2 losses in a row.
Yes, 10 losses altogether, double figures for Arsenal, which obviously I've just seen 9 wins and 4 draws. So their losses are surpassing their others. It's mad really for Arsenal, isn't it? When you see what we used to watch in the 2000s, even before then, they were great. But what we'd seen and now what they are now, it's a drab feeling for Arsenal fans, I'd imagine.
Yeah. Unless for Liverpool fans, it could always be worse.
Well, yeah. I mean, God Almighty, we need confidence. I mean, we've lost everything. 29 goals conceded. I just know it's flaming heck. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, that's 29 goals conceded without Virgil, isn't it? You'd take the best defender in the world out of any team, and it's going to affect you.
Yeah, I'll never forgive Pickford for that. Just never forgive him. I'll keep my words to myself, but I'll never forgive him. Right, let's go look at the bottom half of the table. So, there we go. So, bottom of the table, still rooted, Sheffield United. But what is nice to see is a bit of green in there. 3 greens.
From the last 5 as well.
Yeah.
Is the Great Escape on? I mean, I don't think so. Too little, too late. But, stranger things have happened.
They have indeed. I mean, that bottom 3, all like, 15, 12, 11. And they could jump up to the 3rd from bottom. But unless Burnley and Newcastle, I don't even know how they've got 25 points. I mean, they're just... But, Burnley obviously making up that bottom 4. What do you think? Do you think Burnley are going to hold on and stay up?
Well, I hope not, obviously. But 8 points is a big gap. It's a big gap given the current form of these teams, what they've shown so far in the season. But surely, the way this season's gone and the points they're on at the minute, it's like maybe 35 points might be enough to keep them up. It could be a record low to stay up this season.
Yeah. I think you're right there. I think you're spot on. I think those teams could go down if they're playing. Yeah.
Well, it's only Brighton who, over the last 5 games, have got themselves. They've kind of shot up, haven't they?
Yeah.
Unbeaten in 5.
Yeah.
They're the only team in the bottom 10 with no losses in the last 5 games. Southampton are very, very fortunate. They've got all those points on the board early doors.
Yeah.
given that's 5 straight losses, including a 9-0 pummeling.
Yeah, of course. Got battered again, didn't they, by Man United in the week? It's well, last week, wasn't it? I think. But to be honest with you, it's grim reading really for a lot of those teams because none of them can be confident in saying, right, we're going to make a surge to try and stay up because anything could go wrong at any point. You know, if Sheffield United go on, say, a 2 or 3 game winning streak, another 9 points, that's up to 20. I mean, they could go up and they could come out. I mean, that's my prediction anyway. I think Sheffield United have got something in them. I know you don't think the same, but I just think they've got something more in them, and I think they can do it. But we'll see. We've got another 16 games at least. 17?
You do, yeah. It's a long time. So who's your pick then? You're free to go down at this point.
Bottom 3. Ooh. Well, I think Sheffield United. I don't know why, but I think they will escape. I think West Brom, Fulham, and I think Burnley.
There you go. You heard it here first, folks. Sheffield United. Get your money on it.
Yeah.
And if it loses, Seymour will refund you.
Yeah. All the money I'm making from YouTube. Right. Let's move on to our last second from last talking point, Golden Boot.
Yeah. He's still there, your man. No salad.
Yes.
This is up to date with this weekend's goals. Well, as up to date as it can be. It's obviously not including the Chelsea game, which, as we know, is currently live. But it does include the Man City Liverpool game, which Salah scored in.
Yeah.
Kane and Son also scored earlier today. So 3 of the top 4 added 1. So no one's pulling away. So Salah 2 ahead. Kane looking like he's going to get the golden shoe. You think?
Yeah. I think so. I mean, the way confidence, like I say, with Liverpool at the moment, I mean, he's holding on to that. I mean, he got 15 goal, 1 was a penalty today, of course. I think that if Kane and Son, I still think it's between them two. I still think they have a chance. Obviously, Fernandes is getting goals through penalties. Mind you, I must give him his due. The other day, he scored an absolute banger. It was a fantastic goal against Everton. That flew in. But yeah, to be fair, I still think it'll be Kane and Son. Myself. How about yourself?
I think Salah will do it. He's got that selfish streak you need to be the top level striker, which is why he's top and has been. That's why he's the main dog at Liverpool. He's ahead of 2 other very, very talented strikers.
Yeah, who are nowhere to be seen, unfortunately, on this list.
But, well, that tells you the story yourself, doesn't it?
It does, 100%, man, 100%.
What I want to point out is Patrick Bamford, 11 goals, 5 assists.
Yeah.
Now this guy, everyone, even Leeds fans, they say, he's not good enough. Get rid of him. He's not even Championship level. All of them were saying that last year.
Yeah.
But the house has stuck with him, and it's paid off, hasn't it?
It has, and that's what happens when you have faith in a player like that. You know, I've seen a couple of his goals like just recently, and yeah, he's. Fans are always going to come down here because, you know, you've not got the big names and stuff like that. And I know Leeds, you know, they've got that aura about them still, haven't they? But they're still a massive club. And I suppose spiritually they kind of are, but it's just, you know, they've got to just deal with what they've got. And Bamford's not, I mean, he could just say, well, screw you, I'm not playing, or I'm just going to play really bad for you or whatever. But he's not, he's doing his job. And maybe the fact there's no fans there is helping him do that.
Yeah, I reckon so.
Right then, last slide of the night.
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
So, why is it so hard to stay on top? We thought we'd have a look at primarily teams that have only won the Premier League once and then disappeared. Unfortunately, my boys, the Rovers, in 94-95, Leicester 15-16, and looking likely to be Liverpool 19-20.
Yeah.
All their total defences were hopeless, really. I mean, in our total defence, we finished 7th. Leicester, I can't remember where they finished. Can you?
No, I think about 6th or 7th, wasn't it?
6th, 7th again. And it's looking like Liverpool are facing a struggle just to hang on to a Champions League spot.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, even the multiple winners, they find it really hard to win 2 in a row. Man City have done it once. Arsenal have never done it. Chelsea, they've done it once. And then Man City, as I said, is the exception, which kind of proves the rule. They've done it a few times. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, with Manchester United, there was a total dominance there, wasn't there, really? I mean, that team back then was just... What was so good with Fergie is the fact that he adapted with the times. You know, when he went into that first season of the Premier League, Yes, they won it twice on the bounce. They lost against Blackburn, then they came back again and won it. You know what I mean? Then they won it twice again. And then, they lost to Arsenal. Then they come back again. And then every time, even when they've been up against Blackburn, they've been against Chelsea, then Arsenal, against Man City, even when they lost that Aguero goal, that could have really dampened his spirits. He'd said, no, let's go back next year. We'll get Van Persie and we'll win it back. What was great with Fergie is the fact that he knew how to win. He had a great habit of it. And not saying that Mourinho and Guardiola and Wenger and all that didn't. It's just Fergie was very unique in his own way, very, very unique. And I think with and obviously, as you can see, they've not won the league since he's departed. So I think all the other teams, it is a struggle. There's a lot of pressure on you as champions, because everyone looks up and goes, right, everybody wants to beat the champions. Everyone wants to get some points against the champions. It's always been the way. And I think, like you say, the main three at the very bottom have only won one league title in each one. I think that struck them. It really did. I think with Blackburn, they had a great season when they won with Shearer and Sutton banging in the goals. You had Mahrez and what's his name, Vardy for Leicester. Obviously, we had the three, of course. But if their confidence isn't there, it's just not going to be there, unfortunately. But yeah, it's interesting to look at, isn't it? Really,
it is.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll ever see another period like Man U's again?
I don't think we'll see it. Not in maybe when we're older. But managers these days, even if they start struggling, I can't. I mean, to be fair, I'm surprised Man City have kept on to Guardiola, because start of the season they could have thought, oh well, he's not doing the result, let's get rid of him. But then who asked you to replace him? It's a downward spiral. You've got to, in fairness to the owners, they kept on with him. They know he's world class, and look what's happened. The faith has thrown. With Chelsea, I think, I don't know, is that two of them Mourinho? Three of them with Mourinho in there, isn't there?
Three Mourinho.
Yeah. So I think having faith in the manager always helps, but the longevity now, there'll never be another Fergie again. No chance. Not with the way the game is gone. There's no way there'll be another Fergie. They'll have faith in him all those years.
Yeah, no, I agree. Do you think we'll see many more different Premiership winners? Or is it this elite bunch going to stay a small elite bunch?
I think it will be, to be honest. I think it will stay elite. I think because the amount of money in the game now. I mean, Leicester were a shock, surprise. I mean, what you'd say Blackburn, because obviously he had Jack Walker, wasn't it, who took over, invested his money wisely, I might say. It wasn't just throwing him out and buying every top dog under the sun. He bought wisely, and they won. Fantastic. But I wouldn't call them like money bags. I wouldn't call Arsenal money bags. I think Arsenal's the only one there with three titles, who Wenger nurtured it with the players he thought with his mind. And what I'm not saying Fergie didn't, but Manchester United, a massive club, everyone was going to join them. Chelsea bought, Man City bought, nobody realistically, and this is no offense towards the old school fans, but Man City and Chelsea weren't going to entice massive players with their current, especially Man City, no chance. But obviously, since they've built on it, and that's the important thing. But yeah, I think teams like that are gonna fall. I mean, I'd like to see Blackburn up back in the Premier League again. It'd be nice to see him back in, obviously for yourself as well. But yeah, what do you think? Do you think there's going to be any new Premier League winners, or do you reckon this will be it?
I can't see it. Like you say, the money in the game, the gap's just getting bigger and bigger between the teams.
Yeah.
Leicester proving to be the anomaly, but again, you say they weren't not really money bags. I mean, obviously, RIP to the fella, but at the time they did have a billionaire owner.
Yeah.
Who's obviously unfortunately passed in that horrible incident. But so they did have a lot of money behind them at the time they won them.
Yeah, I think they bought wisely though.
They did buy wisely.
Yeah, they were very much like Blackburn. They bought wisely of what they had. Because billionaire own. You say, right, okay, let's go and get Mbappe in and Neymar in. But they look at teams like Leicester City and think, oh, do we want to play for Leicester City? No, we don't. They don't want to play for anyone other than your Real Madrids and all that lot. So, Paris Saint-Germain, of course. So, but yeah, and they spent wisely. But I agree with what you're saying. I just think there's no one outside of this. Leicester City was the big surprise out of all of that. I'm honest with you. Yeah.
It's good to see them hanging on, though. They're still hanging around in the Champions League places.
Oh, yeah. And I'm happy for Brendan Rodgers. I've got a soft spot for Brendan. He's got a great character.
Great character.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, there we go.
Okay, yeah, and I think that's it. Is there any score updates in the Chelsea game?
No, it's a 0-0, mate. Still 0-0. There's not been a lot going on. I think Chelsea have had a little bit more of a chance, more chances than Sheffield United, but they're holding their own, Sheffield United. So good game this, because you've got Sheffield United are in up and down form, but starting to build up, and then Chelsea are starting to have a bit of a resurgence. So it looks like it's going to be a good game.
Oh, well, there you go. I might go ahead and watch it then, the second
Indeed.
half.
Let's go and watch the second half.
All right.
Okay.
I think that's the end of this week's Frost Seymour Experience. Hope you've enjoyed it.
Yeah. Take care. And if you haven't obviously already subscribed, please do so. We obviously really appreciate it. We've had a few subscribers since we've gone live, which is great. Thank you very much for that. And until next week, we'll catch you on the next one.